Yo, what's going on everyone? This is my second video on the channel, and today I'm making another mod. Oh, I've made another mod, let's say. But this time it's for 60 seconds Reatomized. So, in my last video I made a mod for Don't Sleep with the Fishes, where I changed the loot timer and made the game think I was always inside the safe zone. This time I wanted to try something similar in 60 seconds. The goal was simple. I wanted to control the scavenge timer, freeze it, add extra time, finish the loot phase whenever I wanted, and also make the game think I was also always near the shelter so I could drop items easier. This one actually ended up being a bit different from the first game, but I got it working in the end. So part 1, same as last time, was checking the game type. So I went into the game files of 60 seconds. The first thing I did, at first I thought the game might have been IL2CPP or CPP, but after checking the game files I found the important folder, 60 seconds data, and then managed, and I found the assembly C# DLL. That means the game is our mono unity game, not IL2CPP. That made things a bit easier because instead of using BepInEx 6, I could use BepInEx 5 mono x64. So I installed it into the game folder. As you can see here, same steps as last. So I installed it, launched the game, and checked the log to make sure I was working. Once the log said the chain loader started and my test plugin loaded, I knew BepInEx was working. Part 2 was making a test plugin. Part 1, I mentioned I made sure my test plugin loaded. In part 2, I made a test plugin. So before touching the actual game code, I made a basic test plugin. All I did was log a message when the mod loaded, and then the log another message when I pressed F1. So when I saw the BepInEx log for SleepyMods 60 seconds test loaded, I then pressed F1, and inside the console it said F1 was pressed, mod is working. So that confirmed the mod was loading correctly. This is something I would recommend doing first for any Unity mod. Don't start off with a massive mod straight away, just to make sure your plugin loads first. I forgot to mention that in the last video. Always make a test mod before trying to make a big one with all these features. So part 3 was searching the game code. After I opened assembly C# DLL in ILSpy, I also recommend probably using dnSpy. It might be a lot easier. I don't really know. Haven't really used dnSpy much. But basically, I instantly started looking for stuff like scavenge, timer, time, clock, drop, shelter, inventory. So I'll bring up a notepad. These are the stuff I instantly started searching for in the spy. At first I found a class called ClockController, and it had a field of _scavenge time equal 60F. So I thought that was the real timer. So I made a quick little patch, and the clock needle changed. But the actual game timer still kept going. So that meant the clock timer that I found was only controlling the visual clock, not the actual loot phase ending. So that was the first dead end I ran into with making this mod. So we got into part 4. I didn't use this method in the first video, or the first time I made the mod for Don't Swim with the Fishies, or the Fishes. So I used PowerShell to find important strings. So basically what I did is I opened up PowerShell to search through assembly C# DLL. So instead of using ILSpy to search through each string, I ran a small PowerShell script that pulled reliable strings out of the DLL and saved them into a text file. So I searched for words like these ones right here: scavenge, timer, time left, inventory, soup, water, food, items, or item, health, hunger, and thirst. So this created a search results text file which made it easier to spot useful names. So when that was created, that's how I found important things like these right here. So underscore scavenge time, start scavenge, transfer scavenged items, ClockController, Watch.Tick, player interaction, is player near shelter. So PowerShell didn't instantly tell me what to patch, but it gave me a list of names to search for inside of ILSpy. So the workflow was basically use PowerShell to find interesting names, search those names in dnSpy or ILSpy, use analyze, and then used by, follow the call chain, test patch in game. That helped massively, because without it I would have been randomly clicking through hundreds of classes. As you can see, these are all the classes that I would have been searching through to find the right ones. So we moved on to part 5, finding the real timer. To find the real timer, I followed the code backwards. I found the scavenge phase ended. The game actually called something called gameflow.endLevel. Then I did analyze and followed it back to another thing for finalize level. I followed that back again to something called submit results, and then it transferred the scavenged items. So I right clicked on the methods and used analyze used by to see what basically what it was calling. Eventually found the real timer method, which is called Watch.WatchTick in it. That was the important one. That was the real method for the timer. So inside that method, the game was doing a loop. It updated the clock hand, waited 1 second, reduced the time, and when the loop finished, it called underscore gameflow.endLevel. So that was the actual timer controlling when the bomb drops. So instead of patching the visual clock, which I did first by mistake, I replaced the watch.tick with my own version. So that was when the timer feature finally started working properly. So we moved into part 6, adding timer feature. So once I had the control of watch.tick, I added the main timer features. The mod now had these features: F1, which added 30 seconds to the timer, F2, which froze the timer and unfroze it, and then F3 was to finish the loot phase. I also added a small UI so I could see the real time left, because in this game when I started it, you just see the clock, you don't actually see how many seconds you have left. The nice thing is the timer now starts at the game's default time, so nothing changed unless I pressed one of the hotkeys. At first I made a mistake of instantly starting the game's timer at 120 seconds, which didn't start the game's loot phase, so I couldn't loot anything. So that broke it. So I had to backtrack. So basically it means the mod didn't instantly break the normal game flow. The freeze timer actually froze the real timer now, not just the clock needle, which I ran into the first problem when I first made the mod. So after I finished that, we went into part 7, was making the game think I was near the shelter. After the time I worked, I wanted to copy the same idea from the last mod in my last video. In 60 seconds, you normally need to be near the shelter entrance to survive when the bomb drops. So I searched for strings like, is player near shelter? When I searched that, I found inside that player interaction. The method was basically just returning a private bool that turned out to be _is near shelter. So I patched that method to return as true. That worked for the end of the scavenge phase. When the time I reached 0, the game counted me as a safe and put me into the shelter, but still didn't let me drop items anywhere inside the house. So that led on to part 8, drop anywhere. So I kept looking inside player interaction. I found the actual drop check, and it needed multiple things to be true. The game was checking multiple stuff like _can drop, _is near shelter, hands not empty, face in the shelter. So I patched the logic so the game thinks _can drop equal true, is near shelter equal true, angle to shelter equal 0. That means the game thinks I'm always in the right place and facing the right direction. After that, dropping anywhere started working. I did run into some lag at the first because I was scanning objects too often, but I fixed that by patching the interaction method directly instead of constantly searching every frame. That made it a lot smoother without any lag. So after I finished that, we moved on to part 8, instant pickup and drop. The final feature I added was instant interaction. Normally picking up and dropping items is slow because of the animations. So I added another feature, F6, instant pickup / drop. This tries to skip most of the pickup and drop delay by resetting the game grab and drop states faster. It's not perfect because the animation system can be awkward, but it works well enough for a test and makes looting much faster. If it ever causes issue, I can adjust it just by toggling it off and on with F6. So after I figured that out, we moved on to part 10, hotkeys. So the current mod hotkeys are as listed: F1 at 30 seconds, F2 freeze timer unfreeze, F3 finish loot phase, F4 toggle shelter result check, F5 toggle drop anywhere, F6 instant drop / pickup, and insert shows and hides the UI. So after part 10, moved into part 11, what I learned. So the biggest lesson from this mod was not to trust the first timer you find. So the difference between Don't Sleep with the Fishes and 60 seconds was Don't Sleep with the Fishes had one main timer, which was easy to find. 60 seconds has multiple different timers. One that is just the UI of the clock. One that is the actual timer that affects the loot phase. So basically at first I thought the ClockController was the real timer, but it was the only visual clock. The actual timer was this as listed, Watch.WatchTick. So some tips, if you want to make a modern Unity game, follow the chain or follow the call chains. So find the table that you're looking for, right click on it, analyze, go down to and then used by, find what you're looking for and do exactly the same, analyze and search for used by until you find what you're looking for. But yeah, this mod was a lot of trial and error. A lot more trial and error than Don't Sleep with the Fishes. as there is a lot more strings to do with 60 seconds, as 60 seconds is a bigger game, a lot more features, a lot more strings. So before I end the video, I do want to showcase this. So if you open the game, so the game is loading, and that is the UI as you can see. So you've got SleepyMods Timer Plus version 1.5.3. And you can see all the features. You've got F1, F2, F3, F4, F5 and F6. You've got time left, and this is not in scavenge. Shelter result check on, drop anywhere on, instant pickup drop off. So if we go to new game, scavenge, and just start the game. So we are in the game now. So the loot phase has begun. So F1 adds 30 seconds. So as you can see, it's queued for 30 seconds. Basically what that means, when it's queued, once the timer reaches below 30, it'll add 30. But then you've got freeze. So freeze just freezes the timer. I do want to try and stop that annoying tick, but again, I'm not really fussed by it. So as you can see, the time left is 67 seconds, and that's not dropping. So if I press it again, the timer starts dropping. I don't want to press F3 yet because it'll end the loot phase. F4 is just the shelter check to make sure that you're actually in the little square box that's listed, or that's drawn there. And the F6 is the instant pickup alert. So when that's on, it instantly picks it up without the animation and drops it. If we turn it off, you'll see that there's an animation to pick everything up and drop it. So, and it's pretty slow. But once it's enabled, I can walk around and instantly throw everything in there. I'll quickly just add more time. So as you can see, it's instantly picking items up and instantly throwing them into the shelter. So what I'll do is I'll just quickly press F3 to finish the loot phase. So that instantly sets the time at 0. So as you could see, I wasn't actually near the shelter, but it puts me into the shelter because I've got the shelter check on. And once I go in, you'll see all the loot that I picked up that's in the shelter. But yeah, that's also you can press insert to hide the UI. Obviously once you're in the shelter, you don't really need any of that. But yeah, that's how you made that's how I made a mod in 60 seconds. This has a real timer freeze, add time, finish now, drop anywhere. You saw the features I just showcased you it. The mod will be available on SleepyMods.fun. If you want to see more modern videos like this, leave a like, subscribe, and let me know what game I should try next. If this video hits 1,000 likes like the other one, I will release the source code for this mod. But thanks for watching my second video. I've talked a lot, I've rambled a lot, but I am trying to get better. So I'll see you in the next video, guys. Peace.